What's the creepiest thing you've ever experienced when you've been alone? I was walking home from a bar one night when I was at uni and heard what sounded like a blood-curdling female scream. I was absolutely petrified, made a cursory glance to see if I could easily see what was going on, but when I couldn't see anyone I sprinted home. It was only months later that I saw a video online and realized what it was. It was a ducking fox. Their screams are horrifying. I saw a grey fox at night once and it really creeped me out. I can't quite explain why, because I like animals, and I particularly like dogs and their relatives, but something about the fox's face and the way he moved made me feel like I was seeing a ghost. I got chills from it. Foxes in most cultures are seen as mischievous and sly, and in a lot of cultures foxes are known for shapa shifting too. My favorite legend must be the fox's wedding. It's a Japanese folklore tale which is about how foxes shapa shift into beautiful women to seduce men and marry them. On the night of their wedding they eat their husband's liver. If a fox eats 10 livers it can fully become human. Thought I'd share to add to the creepy vibe. Haha. I feel like 90% of Japanese folklore can be summed up as stay on the well-used roads and never talk to strangers while traveling, or you will die. Apostrophe. And stay away from bodies of water or a creature with a butthole on the top of its head will drown you. When it was night I always heard my mother coughing downstairs. One weekend my parents and my brother went on a trip together and I was home alone. And I heard the coughing. So it was not my mom. Raccoons can actually make human-like noises, so there might have been one outside. I've heard some very angry raccoons growling. Those trash pandas are duckin' spooky at night. Trash pandas, I love that. Laying in bed, and you hear the dog door flap back and forth, yet your dogs are on your bed. True story. Found out rats like to come in that way. Went and got 2 cats, don't hear that anymore. Rats leave even if a cat is present and is not directly chasing them, since it is their default predator. Sort of evolutionary trait. Like a person walks to a beach and sees an alligator and slowly walks away, even if the alligator haven't seen the human. Friend of mine had rats who were stealing the cat's kibble and living their best life doing so. Neither cat nor rats cared about each other. My cat is scared of rats. W her fattest. Mayo. Once when I was home alone at night, I was just playing Mice Barks when I noticed at the corner of my eye that my laptop on the other side of the room had turned the face recognition on. Even though I was nowhere near it and not in its camera view, and it had been in the same exact position for about an hour without doing anything. Doesn't sound as creepy writing it down now, but I nearly shot it at the time. Your FBI guy done messed up. Mayo haha. Me and my mom saw someone or something watching us sleep. I was about 5 or 6 years old and my mom was putting me to sleep. I fell asleep, and when I woke up in the middle of the night I saw a dark figure like a man standing in front of the window. I woke my mom up almost about to cry, and I was hoping it was just a tree or something, because we were on the 2nd floor of the house. But when she woke up she also saw what happened and told me to stay put and don't move. She quickly ran to the living room because we had guests over and everyone was still up drinking. She told everyone what happened, and for 3 hours everyone went out and searched around the house. What I didn't tell her was that when she left the window started to rattle as if someone was trying to open it. I was scared and never slept on my own in that room until I was 8. That's actually terrifying. I can't, for the life of me, understand why the mom would leave her child in the room alone as this is going on. Probably figured that leaping into action and going outside was better. Hindsight is 20/20. Once my grandma was out of town to visit my uncle who lives in another state. I was watering her plants, feeding her dog, checking her mail, all that stuff. I went inside and her TV was turned on. Turned it off. Went into a different part of the house to water the plants she kept in a den-like area. Walked back through the living room and the TV was on again. This time the Golf Network. My pap loved napping to golf. Like every other 60 something on the planet. Turned it off and went about my business. Came back a few days later to repeat this routine and some of her figurines had been turned around. He'd sometimes do this because it annoyed my grandma. Probably not creepy, but it makes me chuckle. This is the cutest creepy story ever. Yeah, I miss him a lot. And I could see him continuing to do these things if he was alive, so that's what I used to feel better about it. Excellent username. When I was a kid, I used to spend a lot of time alone in my basement. We had a TV down there, so I was down there pretty late most nights in the summer. One pretty late night, I swear I heard rustling from behind me, but when I turned around, there was nothing there. I felt a really sharp breath on the back of my neck, hard enough to blow my hair. Took off up the steps, leaving everything on downstairs. I grabbed my mom and we went back downstairs to check it out. Everything was turned off. I didn't hang out downstairs anymore. Rustling from behind me, but when I turned around, there was nothing there. That was me, Methodica. And I'm coming back. No. It was me. Username does check out. This happened a few years ago. It was about 9 PM, and I was returning from practice. I would say I'm a pretty paranoid guy, and usually overthink stuff. As I was walking down the road I had this terrible gut feeling. Like my heart dropped. I immediately felt like I should look behind me. I turned around and saw a man, pretty muscular, around his middle 30s, staring at me. I froze and suddenly the same gut feeling returned. I don't know why, but I had that urge to scream. The guy actually took off running. Probably because he thought I was calling for help. When I got home I told my parents. I was 14 at the time, and we called the police. A few days later a police officer knocks on our door and starts asking me questions. He had a picture of the guy from that night. I could tell it was him due to him being bald. And from his muscular body, it turns out they had already caught the guy and just wanted to confirm if it was him. I later find out this guy has been guilty for murder, molestation, etc. He was also carrying a knife the night I saw him. Really messed up guy. Edit. I was a really smart boy at the age of 14. So of course I didn't go to my house immediately, in case he followed me again. I just kinda went as far from my house before returning. Good on you for screaming. There's a phrase, duck politeness. If you think something is wrong, don't worry about being polite, or looking awkward, or being paranoid or foolish. You scream, make noise, cause a scene. If he didn't have bad intentions he wouldn't have run off. People die because of politeness. Be weird, be rude, stay alive. Crime junkie for life. Literally listening to the podcast right now. Never go to a second location. Ghostly stagecoach. I was driving with my dad, and we're in the middle of the country. We were approaching an intersection about a 1/4 mile up the road. It was approaching dusk, still plenty of light to see, and we saw a large greyish translucent cloud. If I had to compare it to a shape, my dad and I agreed that it looked most like a stagecoach. Random, I know, but still, appear out of thin air on the left side of the intersection and slowly cross the road in front of us, and then disappear into thin air after crossing the road. It was so clear to us that my dad pretty much slammed on the brakes. We looked at each other and said, "Did you just see?" Yup. Not sure if it's spooky, but it's something I've never experienced before, and haven't since. I have an uncle that likes to dress like an old school cowboy. He also likes to ride his horse through the woods when he drinks, instead of driving, and would come up to the road to cross the creek between his house and my mom's house, ride along the shoulder of the road for about 50 yards or so, then go back into the woods to come visiting. I heard about the creepy old cowboy on the creek from more than one person who liked to ride the back roads late at night. I'm in love with this man. Good bot. It was my parents' basement when I was visiting home during uni. I thought it was haunted. Stuff would vanish or seem to move on its own. Sometimes I'd hear footsteps upstairs when no one was home, and investigate, and indeed I was alone. Then I started literally missing time and finding myself in different places down in the basement. There were other things. Turned out, carbon monoxide leak and poisoning. I was lucky I wasn't there for extended periods, and it was full, so window were open. OMG, you're lucky you're not dead. Yeah, I really am. It was way long ago. before Reddit in the famous story about that one guy who had it. So I didn't even know it was a thing. I really just started to think I was going crazy. Who or where can I read this story? Oh, here link. reddit.com/r/legalabis/comment/34L7vo/mar_post-it_notes_left_an_apartment/ You go man. I just googled it. I haven't read it in forever, but I think that looks like it. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.